morning, everybody. Happy Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Happy Halloween. Happy all the things. I'm Dawn Church. I'm Work Smart's events manager. And of course, I have the fabulous Marissa Lehman on this video too. And today is kind of the first official video in our new Cybersecurity Awareness Month series of mini videos that are all about cybersecurity, but with a Halloween twist. So, Marissa, what are we talking about today?
Well, Dawn, what would Halloween be without a wicked witch? Which is kind of how I feel about cybersecurity. We can't talk about cybersecurity without addressing the wicked witches of the web.
Exactly. Okay. So when I think about wicked witches, I sometimes think about Hansel and Gretel. So unfortunately for poor Hansel and Gretel, the wicked witch tried to lure those poor kids into her dangerous environment with lots of yummy looking treats and candy, which made them a lot more willing to go into this potentially scary looking house. And I feel like there's probably a pretty good cybersecurity analogy in there somewhere, right, Marissa?
It's exactly what we're going to talk about today. The wicked witches of the web are threats online that use their sweet treats as methods to trick the kids, which unfortunately for us, we're the kids in this scenario. So in this video, we're going to talk about one wicked witch of email that uses her tricky treats, which are phishing attacks. Because after all, these witches or hackers, cyber criminals, know that users rely, well, I mean, many of us, we just not call them users, we rely on email to conduct our business, making us an easy target.
Yeah. So what makes this particular wicked witch of the web rather scary is that they rely on tricking a person into believing that they are someone that they are not, somebody who's safe and trustworthy. And they do that through email, which, as Marissa mentioned, we use email all the time, right? We're used to getting lots of email from lots of different people. So it makes it a really easy method for a wicked witch to hack into our stuff. So if you think about the evil queen from Snow White, she dressed up as this poor, sad little old lady and just wanted to give Snow White a beautiful looking apple, right? But that's not the case at all, right? She was actually the evil queen. She actually was trying to give Snow White a curse, and that's what happened. So in the case of cybersecurity, right, the type of apple used to poison your organization might vary, but today we're just talking about email and phishing and all the things. But with phishing, the goal of the poison apple is always to trick people into giving up sensitive information or sending money.
That's right. So the phishing attacks attempt to get the sensitive information, whether it's a password or a username or payment information. It's disguised to look like it comes from that credible, trustworthy source, forcing that kind of sense of security and trust, except it's false. The scammer might spoof an email address or a website or send a spear phishing email. So theoretically, let's say you've accepted a treat from one of these wicked witches and you've let them into your house. Well, now they can pretend to be you. They have this opportunity to put on a costume like the big bad wolf who put on grandma's clothes, which I realize that the big bad wolf is not a witch, but the joke works and you get the idea. That once these wicked witches of the web have access to your information, or let's say contacts, who are also happy to take candy from your desk jar any day.
Exactly. So attackers get the login credentials for your email so that they can then use your email to harvest even more credentials, which they then use to launch ransomware attacks and a bunch of other things, right? And we're going to talk about all these things in later episodes of this. But for today, you can work smarter by keeping on the lookout for scams or being on the witch watch. So here's a few tricks. So number one, be on the witch watch. So check for a witch in disguise, a hacker in disguise, by looking for slight variations in the sender's email address. So a wicked witch of the web might spoof an email address that you would otherwise trust. And spoofing means that they're going to create something that looks very much like an email that you would otherwise trust, but maybe there's couple small things that are different, right? Like maybe there's a Z instead of an S. So look for those misspellings and don't assume that you're always going to catch them at first glance, because our brains are wired to ignore subtle mistakes and subtle differences. So slow down and take the time to double check. So number two, before you take the treat and click on a link, hover over it to make sure that it is sending you where it says it's sending you. So you might click on something or see a phishing email for planner and hover over the thing that says, you've been assigned a task, click here to see it, and then see that it's actually taking you to something that has nothing to do with planners, not on planner's website, but you can know that ahead of time without clicking if you just hover over that link. So that's number two. Number three, beware of the content. So the content of an email can be a really big signal that something fishy is afoot. So things like, are there sensational subject lines? Like, you must act now. Which brings me to the second part of this. Is there a heightened sense of urgency in the message somewhere? Does it maybe sound too good to be true? Like you've won the lottery, which would be awesome. Probably not going to come to you in an email though, right? Or is it even too scary, right? Like, are they telling you to go change your password right now because something, got into the system and it was compromised and you have to go do this thing right now? So watch out for that sense of emergency. And then the last kind of really good indicator in the content of a message is, are there unprofessional misspellings within the body? So that's number three. Number four, and this is the last one I have for you, is treat attachments like a trick. So only open attachments from trusted sources and only open attachments that you were expecting to receive. So that's all I got. But Marissa, what else? I feel like you probably have 10 million other tricks.
Well, one that we talked about in our fish proof webinar a couple weeks back was that when in doubt, check it out. So if you get an email requesting a wire transfer, give them a call to verify that it is in fact where you're supposed to send the money. Sometimes the requests are legitimate, and having that extra check is a-okay. Also, I like to say that beyond some cybersecurity awareness education, there are some things that we can do as an organization to keep the witches at bay, especially so we can keep our kids from wandering into a stranger's house. And we're going to talk about those in future episodes. We've got things like adopting two-factor authentication, making sure your antivirus is up to date and automatically updates, tips on password security. But as always, we are here to help. We're certified to take care of witches.
It's true. Alrighty, so that's it for today, everybody. I hope you have an awesome day, and we'll see you tomorrow with another video.